So many companies are hesitant to embark upon sustainability because it's expensive. That is always the perception, that it's very expensive. So how have you addressed the area of concern that going green, I mean, what's beautiful here is that senior management is on board. So it's not like you have to convince them, but still, for others out here as well, that's always the perception. So how have you addressed that, and have you calculated your cost savings related to implementation on specific measures?
So I'll start that one off because I think this is a topic that we need to turn around perceptions on, because there's so many sides to sustainability. There's the building side, there's the culture side, there's the behavior side, and all of them work together. But I think that at first glance, when those that are saying it's expensive, yes, there are projects that are expensive, that's true. Many of them have ROI, and when you dig into that, you have better traction to understand what kind of a barrier you're actually facing. There's so many things that are low-hanging fruit that you can do that are providing staff the opportunity to participate in this that cost nothing. And I think we've talked about quite a few of them today. It doesn't cost anything for us to promote ride sharing to staff. It does not cost anything for us to put paper in the right bin so that we can do the right thing with it. It doesn't cost anything to explore composting. It doesn't cost anything, right? So all of these different things. When I say cost, I mean we're going to pay for it, and in some capacity, but we're going to have savings from it as well. So I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about that, and the more that you are engaging staff to bring the passion that they have for this in their personal lives to work, it's a win. And I think you have to just start with the low-hanging fruit and start with engagement. But that's from the cultural piece, and from the energy side, or anything you want to add.
I guess from the energy standpoint, every time that we come to our leaders with new projects, new energy conservation projects, we have to keep everything very simple. What's the scope? What are you trying to do here? What's the cost to implement this? What are the achievable savings? What's your return on investment? This is all they care about. And if the payback is significantly, it's favorable, and the cost, if it's going to have a one-year payback, then there's no question, just implement this. We'll give you the money. And for us, patient satisfaction, this is what drives us. We want to create a clean, a safe, and efficient environment for them. So if it means let's stay on top of our preventive maintenance on our air handlers to make sure that we're cooling and heating our patient areas to satisfaction, then we're going to invest our money in that. And also there are savings by implementing specific controls to monitor how much energy we're putting out there to create a comfortable environment for them.
Switching to waste, just started talking about waste, reduction and diversion. So you can take us through the waste process from the top down. I'd like to know from the top of the policy down to the floor, what is the whole waste philosophy and process? Have you assessed your waste on a waste stream audit? How do you divert your waste, etc.?
So I think, again, I'll speak to that broadly, and then I will call on Adam or Doug to comment on specifics to Westchester. But in general, we have taken a look at how much we generate across all of our campuses and identified opportunities where we can to divert. So whether it's diverting to recycling or taking a look at a stream that's very expensive, like we mentioned, regulated medical waste, which is usually captured in red bags. It's for specific items only. Oftentimes we run into an issue where regular waste ends up in that stream, which inflates the volume and causes us to pay a lot more than we need to. So we've looked at sort of where there are opportunities to reduce waste volumes, get things into the right bins. We do that through education. But also there's lots of opportunities looking at clinical supply reprocessing. That's an opportunity. And there's some other programs I know that are specific to Westchester that I will ask Adam or Doug to comment on with regard to that, batteries, etc.
Well, we have a lot of, as you mentioned, waste streams that we try to capture here. Our regulated medical waste here is very small, obviously for behavioral health. We have a lot of that kind of waste here. But obviously our recyclables, we try to capture just about everything we can. I've been known to garbage pick. I get neurotic when I see when I see cans and bottles in a recycling bin, especially when in a trash can, especially when the recycling bin is like right next to it. I just can't fathom how. I like to think those are visitors doing that, not the staff, because I certainly beat this point to them as much as I possibly can. We have the plant operation, the Slater's department. We have collection facilities for batteries, so we get that out of the waste stream. Fluorescent bulbs, be they the old tube lights or the compact fluorescents, we collect those as part of the waste stream, get that out of the waste stream. So we try to reduce as much as we can, reuse as much as we can, and we try to have opportunities to capture the recyclables, whenever we can. I try to, every time we have events on the outside, we go on picnics and stuff to take advantage of this 200-acre outdoor campus. I try to get the people who are setting it up to understand that you need to put the recycle bin next to the trash can. Because in my experience, people like me are going to do the right thing all the time. It's just preaching to the choir. But to the regular person, if they finish their bottle of water, their can of soda, and they're next to the trash can, and the recycling bin is 50 feet away, a lot of people aren't going to walk that extra 50 feet. They're going to dump it in the trash, for better or for worse. So I try to let people know when you're setting up for events like that, make sure the two cans are next to each other. That gives the person the opportunity to do the right thing. And most people, I think, will do the right thing if it's right in front of them. And hopefully that person will become, later on, one of the people that always do the right thing and will walk the extra 50 feet. So little things like that you have to think of. If you make sustainability efforts no-brainers, you make them easy, it kind of leads people down the first step, and hopefully they can take the next few steps, with a little bit of encouragement.
One other thing I want to add is that we do work a lot with our vendors who are obviously bringing a lot of supplies into the organization. And so through our procurement team, we do that to integrate verbiage into some of our contracts. Where you can you not deliver supplies in totes versus cardboard boxes? Bulk waste is a really big issue at our organization. Specifically at some of our very large campuses, we have a very complex tunnel system, and a lot of it ends up being pallets or cardboard boxes. And so, what are we doing about that? So, not only are we looking at sort of the top of the house, so to speak, but underneath, where things kind of get bottled up, how can we help address and get in front of that? So, we're really being proactive on that front as well. I think that we get data where we can, so that we're able to trend and share that with staff, so that if we're doing well, they know that their efforts have really helped us get there. So,
I would also add other waste streams that we manage. We have electronic waste, which is handled on the campus here, disposed of as the recycled products. Hazardous waste streams, regulated minimal waste streams, paper plastics, which was just mentioned, cardboard recycling, batteries. We've been recycling batteries for 25 years. So we've had programs in place here many years and being managed. We're down to the toner cartridges for all the printers and fax machines that are recycled and sent back to the manufacturer in envelopes. So all staff are trained to, when they're finished with their cartridge, after the disposal process, we provide the envelopes, they seal it, bring it to our storeroom receiving, and it's sent back out to the vendor. So we recycle all that. Same thing with batteries. In order for you to get a battery here, you have to return the old battery. So it doesn't go in the waste stream. It's recycled, and we send it out as universal waste. So we have a very large system for handling our waste reduction.
Great. I also like the whole supply chain piece, because that's a big growth area. Because there are many vendors that want to do business with you, and if they know that in order to do business with you, they've got to comply to your green standards, then I'm sure that they'll very quickly make the change. So how important have partnerships, public-private partnerships, been in your sustainability efforts?
Sure. For the energy program, it's been significant. It's a big effort on our part to have to take additional time to go and sit on some of these boards, consortiums, membership meetings. But they're important. You need to stay in the loop. You need to know what's going on with the policies and legislations. You need to know, who is going to help you, who's going to help hold your hand through that process. And for us, New York, this is going to be more so New York City, with utility rates constantly being Con Edison asking for increases. The NYP is fairly large, and when we energy consumers, we leverage our ability to lobby against some of these rate increases, and we win sometimes. So it's a good thing.
I also want to just add that any opportunity, I think, for professionals that are focusing on sustainability at their organization to get together is really very, very important. Forums like this are so awesome. I mean, I look forward to them because I always pull away new information that we can integrate. I mean, and vice versa, right? We're all learning from each other. It's such a learning goal. It's not about your organization versus my organization versus all of these concepts can be applied kind of across industries, across sectors, and that's very exciting. So,
I mean, that's a great point, and one of our goals for the Westchester Green Business Challenge and moving forward especially is to bring together like organizations. So if the hospital organizations, and I believe that there are a few other hospitals represented here today, you know, if you guys really, you know, wanted to get together and, you know, learn from each other, share best practices, we would really encourage that. We'd be happy to facilitate that because it's so important for that to happen. And, you know, really this is a live case study that you're presenting to us today. So hopefully these practices that you're talking about will be used by other organizations as well. So tell us a little bit, and then I want to open up to the audience because I'm sure there are a lot of questions, but plans, future plans for sustainability, where do you guys, I mean, maybe everybody can take a crack at that, you know, where do you see things moving forward in each of your roles? What are your goals and wishes to move forward?
Okay, I'll start. I think that we want to continue to work together and to collaborate. We're looking at developing a strategic 5-year strategic plan, integrating all aspects. I think that we want to continue to broaden our communication initiatives, building out the other areas of the Green Workspace certification, and finding new ways to participate in this green sustainability community. I think is a very important piece as well. I think others probably have comments as well.
I'm going to speak from my primary, dovetailing into my primary role as project manager. I'm looking forward to what we're working on a project right now. One of our old gyms, dating back to the 1920s, I think, is it's Old Rogers Gym. It's currently under construction as a building reuse project. It's a LEED registered project. It's going to be called the Centers for Autism and Brain Development, Centers for Autism and Developing Brain. That's going to be slated to open in the spring, so we're shooting for LEED certification on that. So that's going to be exciting to be a part of that. I also try to, even in the smaller projects, which really don't lend themselves to a formal program like LEED, we do try to, anytime we can specify a material or a product that is inherently green, we do try to do that, keeping our eyes on things like, for interior projects, like low VOCs or no VOCs. We've changed our paint spec a couple of times in the last few years to keep on the forward part of the wave when it comes to low and zero VOC paint specs. So we're always keeping our eyes on that. I'm very excited to hear keep progress on the potential solar project. As a current user of solar of my own home since early summer, I know I'm already getting payback on that, so I'm curious to see how that could be expanded on to a much larger scale here.
So to piggyback off of that, so not only that project, but also embarking today, we are starting our we're changing out 200 switches to occupancy motion sensors. That's starting today, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm also excited to see how our staff is going to handle, the waving of the hands and calling, can you just switch it back to our light switch? So we'll handle that as it comes. But for, moving forward, we're excited about the energy policy. We want to roll that out. We want to have more employee engagement events where we can just share with them non-technical ideas and understanding of how we're using energy in our buildings and how they can contribute to some of those savings. We are also going to start retrofitting our incandescents to LEDs in corridors at Westchester. We should be starting that soon.
And I was going to say, excuse me, that one of the things that I'm actually really excited about is I remember when I started on the green team as a green champion, there was really only a handful that had their Leaf 1, Level 1 certifications. Now it seems to be harder to find a department that doesn't have that, and that we're kind of moving forward and making a lot of progress and culture change here with some of those initiatives and things like you were talking about, having the new motion sensors. So continue just to provide education to get people to the second level, and then when the third level comes along, I think that's going to be really exciting, just to keep building on our progress and establishing a really good green culture that we have here at the hospital.
So was the LEAF program came out of the Harvard Green Office program? Was that where that came from?
We developed it and adapted it from that.
Okay.
We have a green office certification. You can check it out online. And we took that model and adapted it to meet specific goals that we, have at the hospital. There's not regulated medical waste.
Right, obviously. So for everybody here, can they go on? How much of this information that we talked about today can people go online? How do people get, more or learn more about what they've learned today from you? How can they access that?
We do have a sustainability website, and that's nyp.org/NYPgreen. Many of our emails are on there. We probably, I don't know how you work the follow-up to these events, but some of us could provide our contact information as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you